KevG weather overview. How you doing out there, everybody? We have winter weather advisories in effect for the lower Hudson Valley, and this is for a possible glaze of ice for tomorrow morning as rain from a storm system to our south moves in. It's going to encounter cold enough air where the rain could freeze on contact. So the National Weather Service has issued a winter weather advisory for a light glaze of ice in these areas for tomorrow morning. And as we get past about the noon hour on Monday, this rain will transition over to just plain rain and it won't freeze on contact. So the time to really watch for potentially slick conditions would be early Monday morning. So if you're in an area where it's prone to icing, especially if you have a lot of secondary roads that lead up to the highway, you might want to consider getting an early start tomorrow morning. So it's always dangerous with these little glazes of ice that can happen as you're driving along, particularly in the wee hours of the morning. Now, when we look at the satellite picture, this is a stubborn storm system that is to our south. And basically, this storm hasn't really moved over the last 24 to 36 hours. It's dumping heavy amounts of rain over the coastal Carolinas, but there's strong high pressure to the north, and that strong high pressure gave us a pretty nice day yesterday for Saturday. And it continues to exert its influence over the region, despite the fact that we have clouds moving in from the south. So this aforementioned high pressure is going to buttress the effects of the storm. And so we're not really going to get into crazy amounts of rain with the Monday system. In fact, I think most areas will see under a half an inch of rain. It'll be kind of a gloomy day for Monday. And rainy days and Mondays always get me down. But the fact of the matter is that it's not going to be a tremendous amount of rain. It will be enough to give us, damp, raw conditions for Monday, but nothing crazy as far as wind and rain impacts. Nothing really severe. In fact, when we look at the GFS model, you can see that by early Monday morning, the storm is starting to make some inroads up the coast. But mainly what we have here is breezy conditions, and that's due to the high pressure working in concert with the low pressure trying to block it to the south. So it's called a gradient wind. So it's not really produced by the storm itself, but it's produced by these environmental conditions. And as the storm moves closer, we get rain developing from south to north. And again, that freezing rain problem in the areas mentioned already for the Hudson Valley. And it'll be kind of a raw, windy day for your Monday. And then that storm transitions to the north Monday night and Tuesday, and we start to clear it out for Tuesday. And overall, it's a pretty average fall-like week. We don't have a lot of cold air intrusion for this time of year. In fact, temperatures should probably be around normal this time of year. Not a lot of going on once we get rid of the nor'easter or the coastal storm, whatever you want to call it. And then by late Thursday into Friday, we have another frontal boundary that's going to move in. This is not a coastal storm, but rather it's a frontal passage. And this front moves through Friday night and Saturday. It looks like is the best chance for rain, but that's a good thing because on the heels of it, we're going to have a pretty decent weekend with temperatures around where they should be this time of year. Saturday into Sunday look halfway decent. Perhaps some breezy conditions left over in the wake of that front on Saturday, but really not that bad of a stretch coming up once we get rid of the coastal storm for early in the week. Now, when we look at the long range for the Thanksgiving week, this is where we are for Friday, November 22nd. And it's not really clear to me where all of this is going, but Friday, November 22nd would be this weekend. And what the model seems to suggest is that we have average temperatures, not a lot of Arctic air is getting involved into the overall weather picture. And by the time we get into Monday, Thanksgiving week, the critical travel week for a lot of people, it looks like the storminess is confined to the west. But I would caution you that this is has more than the usual variability just based on the recent model runs that I've looked at. It looks like once we get past Sunday into Monday, it gets a little bit on the murky side as to where we're going with the overall pattern. But you can see that based off the Weather Underground that this is not a bad stretch of weather, typical for this time of year. Temperatures in the 30s at night with upper 40s to low 50s during the day. And don't forget about that rain chance Friday night into Saturday, even though it's not reflected here with that frontal passage coming through for the end of the week. So not a bad overall picture once we get rid of this stubborn coastal storm for early in the week.